Basically, we're just kicking off our effort on the statewide days of prayer for rain and water stewardship. We have them coming up on May the 1st. We'll have another date again in June on the 26th, and then on September 18th. Trying to get all Oklahomans, whether they live in the rural areas or in the urban areas, to come together and pray for continued rain, to make sure that we can stay out of the drought that we've been in the last 2 years, continue to see the weather pattern change, asking the Almighty, regardless of what their faith tradition is, to continue to bless us with water, but then also to instill in folks the desire for good water quality and good water quantity stewardship. We've got to remember we've got to take care of every drop of water that we've ever had. You know, every drop that's ever been that ever will be is already here today. In fact, when you drank your cup of coffee this morning, Cleopatra may very well have bathed in the water that your coffee was made with. We've got to care for it. We've got to protect it because it is a gift from God. And whether that means being better stewards whenever and thinking about turning off the water, so that we're not wasting those drops in our home, being a little bit more mindful about how we water our lawns, being a little bit more careful about what we do with the water that we deal with in our everyday lives, or in the rural areas, making sure that we're doing all we can to address non-point source pollution. Making sure if we're involved in agriculture, we're practicing good conservation practices that help protect not only the quality of water, but also the quantity, whether it's through practices like no-till farming or irrigation improvement. All of those things we need to be working together to do to make sure that we're caring for our water. And we're hoping that this can kind of keep that dialogue going, bring together local grassroots folks along with the faith-based community, working together to instill in all Oklahomans the recognition that our water, like all of our natural resources, is a gift from God. We need to care for it, and we need to continue to ask that we have it abundantly.
I think there's two things that are very important here. Number one, there's the issue of water itself, the conservation of water. Oklahoma has a history, perhaps like no other state in the United States, of understanding what the lack of water can mean. We survived the Dust Bowl, which now has become a major PBS documentary, to tell people this unique story of how Oklahoma went through a period in its state history where literally our crops failed, people lost their homes, great dust storms blew across our state. It became an iconic image for what can happen when there's not enough water. And now, as we are in another drought here in the state of Oklahoma and Texas, we really need an opportunity to be alert to the fact that water conservation, stewardship of water resources, is absolutely vital for the health of any community, rural, urban, and in any state or any country in the world. So I think the first thing I'm excited about is this focus on water. But the second thing is the focus on community. By asking people to come together and pray, what we're actually doing is asking people to step out of their comfort zone, step out of their own traditions, their own cultures, their own little communities that they may inhabit, and really begin to look around and take notice of the fact that here's something that we all need and we all use. Doesn't matter what religion you are, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what country you live in. Everyone needs water. And so we must learn to share that water and to work together in community in order to sustain it. So part of this whole effort is not only water conservation, but I think it's community conservation too. It's bringing community together and building from that base for a healthier world for all of us.
This Pray for Rain effort is really an opportunity for us to pull all faith backgrounds together to pray for God's blessings upon the earth through rain, but also to tell God thank you as well for the blessings that God does provide. I think the biggest thing about this is that our prayers ought to lead to action, and long-term action and transformation in our daily lives, in our businesses, in our households, in our churches and communities, that we would actually have a greater understanding of what it means to conserve water, to turn the faucet off when we brush our teeth, to take shorter showers, to look at how much our grass really needs watering and what kind of watering our plants need and that kind of thing, just to help us actually conserve the resources that God has given us. And so praying is the first step, and then action is the second step, and we hope that will go statewide and through our legislature and through our local government and local churches to really reach out and conserve this great resource of life, which is water.